One very dominant thing that we have been seeing in this current administration is that even when people are due to retire, they do not want to leave office. People are extending their stay in office because of what? Before we delve right into the details of today's news, if this is your first time here or you have not subscribed to this channel, please go ahead and subscribe. Like this video, also leave your opinions in the comments section below. Tension in Abuja. Head of civil service accused of misleading Tinubu on appointment of acting accountant general as madein refuses to quit. You guys also remember, if you watched the video I posted some few days ago about the CCT chairman as well, President Bola, not President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, in fact, the National Assembly announced, another CCT chairman, but Omar, who should be the ex-chairman of CCT, has refused to vacate the office. Mind you, he was sacked because of corrupt practices and misappropriation in this office. That was why he was sacked. But he has refused to leave the office and give room for, the new chairman of the CCT. In this case, the new accountant general, Ogunjimi, was said to have been recommended by Wale Edu, the Minister of Finance. Now, here is the problem. Some sects of people believe that, the present accountant general by the name madein, the woman, should have been consulted in choosing who her successor should be. And not just that, the head of civil service should also have been consulted. But in this case, it was just the Minister of Finance, Wale Edu, who recommended Ogunjimi for this position. And, the current AGF, having this in mind, she does not want to vacate the place, despite the fact that she is supposed to go for retirement by March of 2025. There is tension among senior civil servants in the nation's capital, Abuja, as the head of civil service of the federation has been accused of misleading President Bola Tinubu over the appointment of an acting accountant general of the federation, AGF, Mr. Sudin Babatunde Ogunjimi. The substantive AGF, Mrs. Oluwatoyin Shakirat Madehi, has refused to leave office until her last day in office. Mind you, this is not supposed to be so. At least 3 months before her retirement, she ought to give a notice so that all her retirement benefits and every procedural things that needed to be done will be done within that 3 months that she would be on leave at home. But now she doesn't even want to leave. Moving on. Senior civil servants see this as a contravention of civil service rules. Because of the impasse, Tinubu has stayed action on the appointment of a new acting accountant general. The head of the civil service felt the appointment could only be made by the expiration of the terminal leave of Mrs. Madein. She said it was wrong to have a substantive AGF and acting AGF when the former was yet to complete the retirement process. Madein, who was caught unawares by the appointment of a new AGF without her input, had insisted on completing her mandatory retirement procedures before quitting. But this has led to tension in the civil service because it has been discovered that the head of the civil service allegedly misled the president on federal government public service rules on retirement procedure. The issue in contention was the application of Section 120243 of the Federal Government Public Service Rules. The office of the head of the civil service of the Federation was said to have wrongly advised President Bola Ahmed Tinubu against appointing a new AGF until March 7, 2025, when the tenure of madein expires. It was, however, revealed that President Tinubu was perfectly in order in making the popular appointment. It was learned the same section of a public service was adopted by a former head of civil service of a federation, Mr. Danladi Kifasi, to leave the administration of former President Muhammadu Buhari. According to the section 120243 of the Federal Government Public Service Rules, Madein ought to have disengaged about 2 weeks ago, precisely December 7, 2024. It says officers are required to give 3 months' notice to retire from service before the effective date of retirement. At the commencement of 3 months, officers should proceed immediately on the mandatory 1 month pre-retirement workshop and seminar. For the remaining 2 months, retiring officers are expected to take necessary measures to put their records straight so as to facilitate the speedy processing of their retirement benefits. A source in civil service said, "We learned the president's state action on Ogunjimi's appointment because of an advisory from the head of civil service. It is not mandatory for the outgoing AGF to be in office for the next 3 months. A civil servant going on retirement has skeletal engagement to do in office after 35 years. Actually, he or she should be preoccupied with the transition to a new occupant of the office. The president must end this sit-tight syndrome in public service. What we now experience is for workers not to go on pre-retirement leave. They work till the last day. This is exactly what is happening in this case of the new AGF, whose appointment did not have the endorsement of either the head of civil service or the outgoing AGF. There is a plot to reverse the appointment of Ogunjimi by turning the civil service rules upside down. I think some forces were not happy with the president's choice of Ogunjimi, and they want to use civil service rules to scuttle it. They already knew the president is a due process man. Barrister Dan Ladi Kifasi was head of service under Buhari. He gave 3 months' notice and retired. There is need for consistency and time to school nepotism. A retired permanent secretary who spoke in confidence said, "This is an attempt to overrule the president by the head of the civil service. This is abnormal." Was the executive secretary of the Universal Basic Education Commission not removed despite the fact he has up till August 2025 to complete his second term in office? No one can choose a term the president should work with for him. Tinubu on December 10 appointed Ogunjimi as the acting accountant general of a federation. A statement by the special advisor to the president, Information and Strategy, Mr. Bayo Nonuga, said his appointment is effective immediately following the pre-retirement leave of the incumbent AGF, Dr. Mrs. Oluwatoyin Shakirat Madein. Onabanjo said, in announcing Madein's successor, Tinubu ensured a seamless transition in the administration of Nigeria's treasury and consolidates the implementation of a present administration's treasury policy reform. What are your thoughts? Let's have them in the comment section. Thank you very much for always listening and watching. I will see you in my next video. Bye for